Poland is on a mission to become Europe's arsenal. Its most recent shopping spree includes over 1,300 Abrams and K2 Panther tanks, 1,400 infantry fighting vehicles, nearly 700 self-propelled howitzers, 486 HIMARS, 218 Chanmo launchers, over 100 jet fighters, 96 Apache helicopters, 8 Patriot batteries, as well as frigates and submarines. Warsaw is also in line to bring its defense budget to 4% of its GDP and double its military forces to 300,000 personnel. Slowly but surely, Poland is emerging as a military hegemony in Eastern Europe, and frankly, it has to. Sitting along Europe's geopolitical highway, Poland is the fulcrum over which the continental balance of power dangles. Under American auspices, Poland has come to form an outpost on the frontier of Russian influence. Now, with the war in Ukraine, anxiety is at an all-time high in the vicinity. Poland looks to fill that power vacuum by overhauling its armaments. But does Poland have what it takes to shape itself into a military power? Will Warsaw be able to foot the bill at a time when much of Europe is going through a recession? Centuries ago, Poland was one of the most vigorous powerhouses of Europe. So, will the white-tailed eagle soar again, or will its wings be clipped? Europe's power hierarchy is changing. Poland is projected to overtake the United Kingdom in wealth by 2030. A senior US Army official stationed in Europe recently called Poland our most important partner in continental Europe. American tech giants like Google, Meta, Intel, and Amazon agree. In the last few years, they've invested millions in Polish technology. And when you combine this influx of funding with the country's lower cost of living, it all makes sense. The American commercial real estate sector is buckling. A collapse could send shockwaves throughout the economy. The effects would trickle down to real estate investors in a climate where experts are calling traditionally conservative investments like bonds useless as a hedge due to their high correlation to the stock market. As a result, Bloomberg reports families worth over $500 million are changing their strategies, looking to other investments beyond real estate, with other areas of interest being collectibles, with the greatest allocations to art. Fortunately, these markets are no longer exclusive to the ultra-wealthy. Our sponsors at Masterworks have acquired over 300 paintings with over $800 million in assets under management. I've invested with and talked about Masterworks for over a year. They've done so well that they've had to set up a wait list as paintings can sell out in minutes. But I've been a partner and investor for so long, they're giving you priority access right now at the link below. Poland's strategic outlook is shaped by its geographic precariousness. Situated on the North European plain, its open frontiers exposed its inner core to encroachments from Austrians, Prussians, Russians, and Ottomans. Historically, this meant Poland's borders were frequently changed. The last major revision occurred following World War II, when Joseph Stalin annexed the country's eastern portion to the Soviet Union while granting conquered German territories in the north and west, effectively moving the country 200 kilometers westward. Nowadays, Poland's only effective geographic anchor is the Vistula River, but this is little use given that the river bisects its modern territories down the middle. Ergo, Warsaw cannot rely on geographic fortifications, and in the modern context, this means it must build deterrence and form alliances to balance against Russia, something it has pursued via EU and NATO integration. In recent years, however, Poland has sought to redouble its strength not only through integration, but through enhancing its own capabilities. In 2021, a drop of classified government information to the press claimed that recent military exercises indicated Poland would lose a war to Russia within 5 days, forming the pretext of increased military spending. To this end, Poland has sought to become a geopolitical pivot, increasing its regional influence by reorienting Eastern Europe along a north-south axis and promoting infrastructures like highways, railways, LNG terminals, and pipeline infrastructure. This includes projects like the Three Seas Initiative, a revival of the interwar intermarium concept. In this, Warsaw has been in step lock with Washington, as demonstrated by its opposition to Russian-German projects like Nord Stream 2. Furthermore, Poland has sought to align national defense policies within the Visegrad Group, a bloc formed in 1991 with Poland, Hungary, Czechia, and Slovakia as its members. This has involved deepening defense cooperation, including joint exercises and creating a joint battle group. Following Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine, things kicked into an even higher gear. The Polish parliament passed the Homeland Defense Act, which, among other measures, boosts the defense budget, expands personnel numbers, and enhances training and recruitment. Though the bill expands military spending from 2.4% to 3% of GDP, Poland's prime minister has since stated that Warsaw aims to raise spending to 4%, placing it well above the NATO base target of 2%. Such a spending burden will be onerous on Polish taxpayers. But such an outlay is required to boost its forces from 115,000 professionals and 32,000 in the territorial defense forces to a total force of 300,000 by 2035. If implemented, it would place Poland's military as the third largest in NATO and the largest on the European continent. These personnel increases will be accompanied by new military hardware. In September 2022, the PGZ, Poland's state-funded defense group, signed a memorandum of understanding with Hanwha Defense, a South Korean chaebol and the country's largest defense contractor. The deal includes up to 1,000 K2 Black Panther main battle tanks, 672 K9 Thunder self-propelled howitzers, and 48 FA-50 light combat aircraft. Altogether, the deal could be valued at $15 billion, making it South Korea's biggest arms deal while diversifying Warshaw's military suppliers away from Washington. Yet, this is not to the exclusion of American arms imports. Poland has signed agreements worth $6 billion to obtain 250 upgraded Abrams main battle tanks and a host of other equipment. This was followed in February 2023 when Washington approved a deal to deliver 18 HIMARS systems along with ammunition and 468 HIMARS launcher module kits, systems that have been used to great effect in Ukraine against Russian ammo dumps, logistic hubs, and military infrastructure. Meanwhile, in the air, the Shield of Poland initiative seeks to strengthen Polish capabilities. Included is the $13 billion NAREW program, which aims to produce multiple next-generation air defense systems such as Shorad-class units equipped with CAM missiles. Additionally, the plan is expected to include 8 Patriot systems, with 2 already delivered. Such measures echo the tactics used in Ukraine, where air defense systems have allowed Kiev to contest the airspace with the superior Russian Air Force. All up, Poland's ties with Washington, its role within regional groupings, and its status as a NATO frontier outpost could allow it to gather extra weight within the European balance of power. But there's more to the story. Military strength is not only coercive but persuasive. Warshaw's frontier mentality may have endeared it to offshore security to the United States, but on the continent, the same traits that make Poland a NATO asset also make it an EU liability. For example, Brussels has recently raised concern within the European Court of Justice that Poland's disciplinary system for judges is incompatible with EU law. While Warsaw initially sought to oppose Brussels' efforts to implement change, financial pressures, including fines totaling more than $300 million by December 2022, eventually caused Poland to accept legal reforms. Beyond this, European states have expressed more general concerns over civil liberties and other rule of law issues. So while Poland's arms buildup may boost its military power, its soft power is lacking. Warsaw is incapable of shaping the narrative. Its government is consistently vilified in Western media outlets. But perhaps even more problematic is the economics of Poland's military spending. Bogusław Padzyk, a Polish mayor general, has stated that Poland does not need to spend $10 billion on nearly 500 HIMARS systems. In its war, Ukraine has so far made do with only 18, so 100 units may be more in line with Poland's actual needs. The same principle applies to other military procurements mentioned earlier. Some analysts, however, argue that ahead of the November 2023 elections, the government's spending plan owes more to electoral strategy than Poland's defense needs. Security policy is often a vote grabber in wartime, and emphasis on the scale of Poland's military ambitions seek to drown out concerns over the opacity of the defense contracts or the fact that even Warshaw's pre-existing plans have struggled to raise finance through bond sales. Poland's emphasis on American collaboration could also undermine its ability to exercise military power independently. This reality is amplified by the presence of 10,000 American troops on Polish territory, a number set to increase in the near future. Though interoperability may serve Poland's proximate defense needs, military cooperation and arms sales can create lopsided dependencies. Put simply, great powers do not host the military bases of other great powers, nor depend on them for defense. You can't really be a powerhouse when you play host to others. Finally, Poland's close relationship with the United States is at odds with France's goal for strategic autonomy. The French want to maintain a sense of geopolitical equilibrium between North America and Europe. So Poland, moving further into the American camp, creates dissent within the European bloc, particularly with France. Poland, however, may not have that many options. Its flat geography makes it susceptible to physical encroachments. Facing a hostile Russia to the east, Polish lawmakers must leverage their ties with France and America to gain greater regional weight. Yet, any tilt at great power status must transcend American and French relationships in favor of greater self-sufficiency. And it is precisely this prospect that troubles friends and foes alike. Should Poland gain the hard power to match its independent strife, like Turkey in the last decade, it could quickly go from darling to pariah in the eyes of NATO. After all, even the devil was once an angel. I've been your host Shirvan from Caspian Report. For additional content and perks like PDF files, early access, and copyright-free material, visit our Patreon platform. The link will be in the description below. Thank you for watching, and Sahol.